I've had a huge focus on increasing my productivity for a very long time now, and I've read tons of books on building habits, general productivity books. I've also tried to increase my productivity by watching YouTube videos on the topic and following productivity channels. The problem with all of these methods are that the whole time I was not being productive. So I really did some evaluating to figure out why that is, and I've recently made the changes that were necessary to increase my productivity by a ton. So in this video, I want to just share what I've done to increase my productivity and stop consuming so much, because that is the main idea of this video. I want to talk about focusing on output over input, or you could just think of it as producing over consuming. That's the main idea of this video, and it seems simple enough that it just produce more and you'll be more productive. But I'm gonna really break down how I did it and what tools I was able to use to break some bad habits that I had. Input-based activities are activities that you do where you consume and you don't produce. And these could be anything from watching YouTube videos to going on social media. Even reading nonfiction books counts too. Even though it may seem like you're learning in that process, you are still consuming and you aren't producing. The amount of time that you spend on things like this is what we're gonna be focusing on limiting. On the other hand, you have output-based activities. And these are the activities that we're going to want to spend more of our time on. And that will really make us feel more productive and will actually make us be more productive instead of just feeling more productive like input-based things do. These activities are when you are producing things or having a physical impact on the world around you. Examples of this can be writing, programming. It doesn't have to be complex either. You don't have to be writing a book for that to count as being an output-based activity. You could be simply doing the dishes or taking out the trash. Those types of cleaning activities also count, because there's something that is useful and you are actually having a physical impact on the environment around you. And the truth is, you probably would have had to do those things at some point. So by getting them out of the way instead of watching a YouTube video, it's actually saving you time in the future on things that you could be actually working on. But if you were to replace doing the dishes and procrastinate it with reading or watching TV, then you would not actually be gaining any time to work, because you'll just be pushing that off and eventually you'll have to do those things anyways. I'm not saying that you should never consume content, but I'm saying that you should try to limit it to maybe less than 20% a day if you could manage that. That could be the goal, is try to get 80% of your time to be focused on output-based tasks. Because honestly, for most people, that is flipped. I bet that most people spend 80% of their time on input-based things because it's just easier to do without realizing. Right now, our world is literally set up to make us spend as much time as possible on these input things where we are consuming. There are times when you need to do input-based things. For example, when I want to watch programming tutorials to learn something new that I don't know, I have to look it up and watch a YouTube video or read about it in order to learn the new technology. But if I just keep watching these tutorials, I'll just get stuck in a loop where I'm watching tutorial after tutorial without ever actually applying what I learned. And if you do that too much, it just goes in one ear and right out the other, because you just keep watching tutorials without practicing it. And practicing it is when you actually learn. So if I just instead spent 1 hour learning and then the next 5 hours practicing it, I would really get a deeper understanding of the information that I've learned, and I'll probably create something useful with it along the way. Sadly, I've gone through way too many tutorials or courses with the input-only mindset where I don't actually apply what I've learned, and it's basically lost into the universe. I'd have to rewatch those courses again in order to apply it and actually learn from it. If you do actually start doing more output-based things, you will immediately notice a huge difference in the amount that you can get done in a day. I've had goals on my plate for a long time that I've said, when I have time for these, then I'll do them. And those are making an app, starting this YouTube channel, learning how to make games, and this is all while I have a full-time job now. When previously I was just a college student, and in between that I had no job and all the time in the world, and for some reason I felt I didn't have enough time to do all of these things, but now I am doing all of them at the same time and getting more done than I ever have before, just because I've switched my mindset to being mostly output and a little bit of input. So one of the main ways that I managed to overcome this consumption-based addiction was by evaluating my current situation, seeing what was my main problem. In the beginning, it was video games, and then I actually got rid of that addiction. There's a whole video about how I did that and how I truly was addicted to video games, and I still am, but now I have it under control. That has made a huge difference in my productivity. However, it didn't fix the problem completely, because then I started watching more YouTube videos. So I had to reevaluate and see what my main problem was, which was YouTube now. and then figure out how to tackle that. And it turned out for YouTube, it was an easier fix than video games, because video games was really hard to quit. If you're truly addicted to it, it could literally be like a drug. But for YouTube, I found out that I could just get this Chrome extension that hides any of the recommendations on the main homepage and on the sidebar of the videos. And it turns out that that is one of the main reasons that I was spending so much time on YouTube, because the platform is literally designed to be addicting and catered to you. It shows you videos that they know you'd like, even though you weren't even looking for them in the first place. And they make you feel like you need to watch them, but really you don't. So if those recommendations aren't there in the first place, then YouTube just becomes a useful search engine where you only look up the things that you need to know. And that's how I've been using it. It's been way better using it this way, and I spend so much less time on it than I ever have before in my life. I just look up specific questions that I have or something that I want to know that's going on. I'll just type it in the search bar and I won't be led down a path of random YouTube videos for hours. It's just one video and then I'm usually done with the platform. If you need help with the reflection process, this website is a great tool that I use. It's called Rescue Time, and you install the software on your computers and your phone if you want, and it actually keeps track of what you spend the most time on, and you could look back and really see which things were wasting your time the most or what you were doing good at and how to maximize that also. And each time that I'm able to reevaluate my current situation, I'm able to fit in more output-based activities, and then it's not even really possible to do as much input-based activities anymore, because I want to spend my time doing the more productive things that I'm also enjoying at the same time. I'm sure I'm going to have to reevaluate in the future again. I'm not sure what the next thing that I'm going to be consuming is, but once I figure it out, I will have to figure out how to tackle that too, and then I can fit even more activities into my day. If this video is helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me, subscribe and hit the bell, and I will see you guys in the next one.